Welcome to the show with no name. I am Simon Kadiddlehopper. Mr. Going could not be here today. He's deep in mourning because he found out the mayor does not like him. This is Jim Nikosha. This is Gavin Murdoch. What do you say, you guys?
Hey.
Okay. Now, I have not much experience in doing talk shows.
No.
Well, no. Well, Bob
What kind of shows do you do then?
Bob Going is very biased against the mayor, so that's why we got
gotta
somebody
be careful.
on today.
I said nobody going to speak up for him. Nobody speak up for him.
Nobody speaking.
Look at what the mayor say. This mayor say. Veto statement. Veto.
Veto statement.
That's V-E-T-O, not to be confused with Vito Tambasco, grandfather of Philip Tambasco, regular contributor to the show. Okay. It says, you wonder why I have two pair of glasses, so I keep the disguise up. This is a resolution. I am vetoing this resolution on this date, April 29, 2014. That is 15 days.
Since the nomination.
Since, yes.
Resolution.
It appears to me that this action has been taken to continue the conflict between the executive and legislative branches of city government. This conclusion is supported by two factors. Whoops.
There's one factor.
Whoops. First, this resolution was proposed just 2 weeks after the Montgomery County Supreme Court issued ruling interpreting the city charter in favor of the executive branch, and therefore appears to be aimed at reversing that result. Second.
How can?
There's two.
Second. The resolution appoints former Corporation Counsel Robert Going as the chairman of the committee.
I knew there was something wrong.
I haven't seen him for about 2 weeks.
He is the very same person who had been advising the sponsor of this resolution that she and the council had the authority to unilaterally negotiate and approve contracts. This continued conflict must stop. In order to effectively manage the needs and concerns of our taxpayers, we must learn to work in our roles as set forth in the charter. Oh. Not change the charter, I think she means.
I don't know if she knows what she means.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if she wrote this either. While there may be some benefit from targeted improvements to the city charter, it is more important at this time to focus on substantive issues such as budgeting, infrastructure improvements, and economic development, rather than the relative powers of the executive or legislative branches. It is more important to do the work of government than to recast the structure of government. In light of the aforementioned points, I hereby veto this resolution.
Boy, I wouldn't want to be Bob Going today.
I wouldn't either. I don't blame him for being in hiding. He should be in hiding. Imagine that.
Hang his head in shame.
He should hang his head in shame. It says that there.
Yeah.
That's,
If he wasn't on that committee, they'd probably go right through.
There are substantive changes to be made in the charter, but we don't want to do them because we got other things.
We got other things we got to do.
They can only think of one thing at a time.
Wait a minute. Let me think about this. This is a committee. There's, I don't know, 7 people? 3, 6, 7? I don't know.
Something like that.
7 people on this committee. Right?
Yeah.
None of them are common council.
No, they're not.
None of them are mayor.
They're community members.
But you would be the dictator.
Who would be?
Who would be?
Who would be?
Not me. I'm just a Kadiddlehopper. I'm not even citizen.
No, Bob Going would be the.
Bob Going, yeah.
Bob Going would be the evil person.
Evil person.
Running this,
the dictator.
Because nobody else has a mind.
Nobody has a mind.
No.
He'd be subversive.
Yes, it cannot be done with him as chairman.
No.
It cannot be done. Anyway, but wait. So this committee, they would be doing all the looking into charter.
Yeah. Yes, they would.
Right? Mm-hmm. They would not. The common council doesn't even have to think about it for months. Right?
No, not till
and this
it's
committee
done.
can't make any changes.
No. Committee can make no changes. Committee can't even put things on ballot. Has to be done later.
It's got to be done by the council.
That's right. What is she talking about?
Does she
doesn't
know?
know.
Does she
I
know?
think I know what she's talking about. She don't like Bob going.
Well, who do you think?
You know.
What's the clue?
You know, well, I think first clue. First clue, what, 6 years ago she ran for office, something like that. What is she, in her 7th year now? Okay. So 6 and some years ago, 7 years ago, really.
Yeah.
She's running for office,
Uh-huh.
okay? And she go door to door, talking to people. And you know what she said?
Hello, my name is Ann Thane. I want to
She
be your
said,
dictator.
my name is M. Thane. I want to be your mayor, and the first thing I will do is get rid of Bob Going and Mike Chiara. That's what she said.
Yeah.
And did she do that?
Pretty much.
Yep.
Well, I mean, she never invited me even to have tea. I mean him.
Probably.
I mean Bob Going. She's never invited Bob Going to have tea.
He's
I had
probably-
tea with her many times.
Is it safe to drink her tea?
What?
Is it safe to drink her tea?
Oh, absolutely.
What did
Kool-Aid,
she
too.
put in? Yeah,
Lots of people
yeah.
drinking her Kool-Aid.
No, don't drink the Kool-Aid.
No, it's interesting.
I should get my own cup. With this,
Yeah,
instead
you
of
shouldn't
having
be
to use this all the
associated with
time.
that. Yeah. You know,
It's a bad thing to drink out of the Bob Going cup. Evil.
You know, it's interesting that this all occurred right around May 1st, which in the former Soviet Union was May Day,
May
which
Day.
they projected their wealth of power and
Right.
and
Right.
influence throughout the world.
Right.
And I don't know if she got anything from Putin. He may have sent her an advisory
He
slip.
probably sent her chocolates.
He could have sent her something.
This I expect next. I propose a resolution. Putin, you take Crimea. We don't need it.
Yeah, they may take Donetsk and Kharkov and
Hey, speaking of donuts, you got the Dandy Duncan coffee here today, or what?
I don't know. Is that what it is?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's good coffee, though.
It's good coffee.
Not
Okay.
bad.
and you have good hot chocolate.
It's good hot chocolate. Yes. Wow. Anyway. So anyway, this is the thing. I don't know about this. Then she tell paper. Apparently, she tell paper. Ooh, this committee full of Republicans and my enemies.
You know, the only thing that wasn't in the paper, they put the decision of the judge in the paper, but they didn't put the whole decision in there. They didn't put everything he said in there, which makes people think he ruled completely in favor of the mayor, which he did not.
No, he never got past first base.
Well, he did say that she has to negotiate with the council.
Yeah.
That the council can't negotiate contracts, but when they pass a resolution, she has to.
Never got to that point. Never got to that point.
Well, he did make some. He did say something.
Well, I don't know. Did he have written decision or he just speak from bench?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
I wasn't there. Were you there?
No, I wasn't.
Bob Going might have been there, though.
Bob Going wasn't there either.
No?
It would have been in the paper.
Oh, that's right.
Page 1 above the fold. Idiot appears in court.
You know, other than the next thing is the water deal.
Water deal.
When I was on the council, sat down with a couple town supervisors. I forgot who else was on the city's team. They wanted the water, and we said, fine, we will give you the water, but we want to take a baseline of what your assessments are in the town, and every time there's an increase in assessments in the town, we want to share.
I think that happened.
No, it didn't happen.
Yeah, it did.
We
Not
didn't
together.
We didn't get a share of it.
Oh! See, I was fooling you.
See,
And Thane, I'm watching you. I'm watching. I know where you are.
that wasn't part of the agreement. They're getting a share of their.
Well, it couldn't be. It couldn't be legally a part of the agreement, but ultimately it was. Yeah. Ultimately, they did do that. Yeah, but it amounts to nothing.
Pittance in time?
Pittance.
I don't
pittance in
I don't
time.
recall that, and I don't recall how
I
it
believe
was
so.
done.
I believe so.
Because
Well,
I don't believe so. I don't believe so because they campaigned against me because they said after the first of the year when I got defeated, they would get what they wanted.
and they did.
And they got what they wanted.
Yeah, but ultimately, the other part of the deal did go through. That was part of the agreement. But they couldn't agree to it. It had to be agreement with the county.
That was a different agreement.
Yeah.
That's not the same agreement we're talking about.
My glasses go.
They fell on the floor.
Back of your chair. I can't reach it.
Okay. Well,
Okay, all right.
anyway, somewhat neither here nor there because however bad the deal was that we made with the town of Amsterdam, and it wasn't a great deal from the city taxpayers'
wasn't.
point of view, however bad it may have been, the deal's a deal.
Yeah, exactly.
And what the mayor is doing now is trying to essentially go outside the deal by overtaxing the people in the city
That's,
so that they'll get more from the town of Amsterdam. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. How about cut your spending, or get revenue from other sources, or develop an economy around here that will allow for increased sales tax instead of decreased sales tax.
Because that, sir, is not the democratic way,
with a big D.
with a big D.
Yeah,
Or
you're
the
right.
little d, like in dumb.
well,
Yeah.
they're putting all their hopes in the casino, that they're gonna make millions of dollars on the casino.
Well, you know, maybe there will be millions of dollars to be made in the casino. And guess what? It ain't going to happen this year or next year or the year after that. Certainly not this fiscal year.
And I don't think it's gonna be millions of dollars for the city either.
Hey, I got, it will be very little for this, just the water. And how much is that going to
Yeah,
be? Water and sewer.
water and sewer, that's it.
And they'll probably take one look at the 1.5 and say, get out of here. Get it. Let's talk about that for a minute, because I had an opportunity to speak off the record with one of the people involved in the casino deal here. And so I'm only going to talk about things that are public, public information and not what we discuss privately. Well, let's go back to, I think when you were on the Board of Aldermen, a study was done, I think by Jack McDonald, if I'm not mistaken, about what it would cost to get water and sewer lines under the thruway, looking to develop actually the same property, the Doug Nadler's property on the other side, because at that time he was looking at the possibility of putting housing development in there.
Correct.
Right.
And we got, we got some good engineering and figures, and that stuff is all done. And as I recall, it was going to be like $500,000 or something to get them across, because I had to drill. They had to drill through the rock underneath, through the shale or whatever it is. Okay, and then we were discussing informally, if we do that, let's say the city bonds for that up front. This is the old plan. Now we're not talking about the casino. Now with the casino, it's a different deal probably. But what we could do is bond the $500,000, pay it off over 30 years or whatever, and each time there was a hookup to this line,
Right.
there would be, say, a $3,500 hookup fee or something like that. In other words, enough so that over a period of time, that alone would pay off the bond for drilling underneath. Plus, you're collecting the time and a half for the water and the sewer. And it looked like it was a doable thing. And I'm sure a similar thing can be worked out. And the added advantage of that is once the line is through, well, the line can go anywhere on the other side of the thruway at that point. That's one of the big restrictions of developing the town of Florida at all, has been the fact that the only line there is that goes past the thruway is a small line that goes out to the thruway service area out on Langley Road. Mm-hmm. That's it, and that line is not big enough to handle anything else.
Not for development.
Okay. Now, I got I think, an understanding of this convoluted process they have for choosing the site for the capital district.
They do actually have a process?
There is a very convoluted process.
Okay.
I suppose it makes sense on some level. I'm not sure I completely understand why it would make sense, but first of all, if you wanted to come to the table, you had to put up $1 million.
Right.
Now, that was posted last week, and I think there were 21 takers.
Right.
Now, that $1 million put up allows you to walk into the meeting.
Room. Yeah, you can get in.
To walk into the room, at which point the state will tell you how much minimum they expect you to invest in this.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Paper said.
All right, and whatever other gimmicks are attached. All right? At that point, if you want to walk away from the table, you get your $1 million back.
At that point.
Yeah. So basically, over the next roughly 2 weeks from now, we should know who's in the running.
Right.
Because those people, whoever's left, whoever doesn't pick up their chips and go home, is going to have to leave the $1 million on the table and commit to a minimum of
50 million.
of something else, whatever it is.
50 million.
You know that?
Yeah.
Oh, did they already do that?
They said that in the paper.
Well, I thought the 50 million cent of papers, that's what it's going to cost them to get the gaming license. I thought there was additional money that's going to be required to develop and present your next phase of the planning.
That's right.
You got to pony up again.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Somebody calls you.
So now it's serious money.
So now we got serious money, but now at that point, people are competing against each other, and if you really want to put together a plan that's going to win, I would think that you would not be saying, I am going to spend the minimum you're asking me to spend. You're gonna say, no, I'm gonna rebuild Atlantic City on the South Chuctanunda, right?
And you've got to come up with a plan.
Yeah. Now, presumably the basics of that are already in place.
I would assume.
So then I don't know how long the process takes after that, but
well, they want it up and running within
2 years after the
2
award.
years after the award.
yeah,
Which could be awarded in 6 months from now.
So it's interesting.
So they're putting all their eggs in one basket on something that may not happen, and we had a chance to get it in the city within a year. That was going to happen. It was all set to happen.
Yeah.
The engineering, everything was all done, but they shot it down.
Right.
They want to go for something that is maybe.
And really won't affect the city much at all.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, and the competition for the site is going to be fierce, regardless of how many men are left standing after this next phase, because they've got, experienced companies coming in who already at some place have a casino up and going.
Right.
Yeah.
They've been through the process, and I think all the men, the groups left standing are going to be looking at the fact that they're going to be able to make some serious money if it goes through. It may be expensive to get go, but they're going to they do it right, and all these places have done it right in the past. They're going to make some good money, regardless of where the location is. Though some locations are more favorable than others.
Right.
And how favorable are we compared to the other ones? That's
the question. That's the question.
You got some interesting sites. The Howe Cavern site is interesting. It's kind of
and they've got
halfway between the Catskills and the Turning Stone.
And they've got a lot of places already there that are drawing people in.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
And it's a wide open land, which helps.
you know, they certainly have a need, probably at least equal
It's
to
right on,
the
right
need
on
here.
I-88. Yeah,
Right off
Shoot
of Route
up from
30,
Binghamton or
right
shoot
off the
down from
thruway.
here.
You know, it's
Yeah. The Rensselaer site, I think, is right on the river, on the Hudson River, which
Yeah.
looks like it might be kind of interesting. In New Orleans, the casino is right on the Mississippi there.
And
And
they've
the
got some
Schenectady
casinos
site?
on riverboats down on the Mississippi still.
The
They
Schenectady-
still have some riverboat casinos.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so I mean that's certainly advantage. But how much local support some of these places have is going to play a big role in, because I think the
Well, how much local support do you think the Albany site's going to have when you consider it's Kirsten Gillibrand's, our United States Senator's family that owns the property? The best connected, you know, I mean, she wouldn't be where she is if she wasn't politically connected.
Exactly right.
In fact, you wouldn't even know who she was if she didn't grow up
Yeah.
with a political connection.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah. You know, some of the communities already come out against some of the locations.
Yeah,
And
Saratoga
that's
is pretty negative on the whole thing.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they
Yeah.
are.
You know,
Can you
they're
ma-
doing
can you
fine. Why should they mess with
Yeah,
it?
if the casino went to Saratoga, the Racino would start losing business.
Yeah.
You know, the state itself would lose.
Yeah.
And we know the state never loses.
No. Well, the state wouldn't lose because they'd pick it up on the other end with the casino, but the local.
Local people are concerned about it.
I think part of the package that they have to put together is how much are you going to be giving to the localities, either in lieu of taxes or in addition to taxes or whatever. Obviously, it's going to create some kind of a burden. There'll be additional police protection, I would assume,
definitely.
would be.
Police and fire.
That's employment.
Yeah, what, 3 more cops, 2 more cops?
Maybe more than that.
Well, it's in the county, so it'd be more county sheriffs than it would be city police.
Well, there's virtually no part of it that's in the city. Some of the land happens to be in the
Yeah.
city, but it's just the cliff that hangs over the thruway interchange. It is.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at the map, that's all it is. So who knows? Who knows?
It'll be interesting to see what
Your
happens?
classmates still own the land right in the middle.
Marini?
Surrounded by the
Yeah,
casino property.
yeah, they do. See how long they stay and how long they're going to keep it.
Well,
Marini?
yeah,
Yeah,
Larry,
Larry.
and Pat. They,
And Pat Whitney, yeah.
They've got the old Nadler house. It's that is now surrounded by this casino potential casino property.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it'll be interesting.
Anyway,
And that $1 million that they put up, that's supposed to be to investigate I forget what the wording was in the paper. It's used to investigate the people that are making the
Who putting
proposals.
the projects together?
Yeah, they could get some of the money back, or they could get none of it back, depending on
You know,
how
it's-
extensive it takes to investigate them.
It's interesting that the local concern has developed casinos throughout the world. You know, they've done them in Chile, they've done them in
Yes, I saw that. yeah.
Philippines or Malaysia. I think the Philippines they've done it, and they've got it in Canada and different locations in the United States. So I mean, they've got
Well, yeah,
they got a pretty good resume.
yeah, you know, talking to Pete, I think he said he was out in Davenport setting one of these up for this company.
Out in Iowa, huh?
Yeah,
Holy
I said
cow.
Davenport, Iowa. Iowa.
Build it, they'll come. You know, that's got to be the theory behind it.
Well,
Oh,
we'll see.
yeah.
Hey, last Friday we missed, and I just forgot about it, Art Coutinho's birthday. Art was a former superintendent of schools. Before that, he was principal at the old junior high.
Yes, he was.
And certainly has served the community. Art is in bad shape physically. And,
he is.
should be in all our prayers. And just a great guy, you know?
Yeah, well, absolutely.
All right, so
Got 2 great sons.
happy birthday to you.
Got 2 great sons. One of his sons is my dentist.
There's no shortage of dentists in that family.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
no. And he, producer's got a note for
we
you.
have a caller. Right? Would anyone visiting the casino come across the bridge to Amsterdam, and for what? Well, that's a good question. They might want to play pool if they don't have any pool halls in the
Over there, yeah.
over there.
Yeah. They could buy books.
They would not need to cross the bridge to get something good to eat because there's all the Southside
Yeah.
eateries. Or
And there will probably be another one or two if the casino ever went in.
what? You know, if Ralph and Rita Perillo didn't have so many kids, we'd probably starve. You know.
Boy.
Have they done a fine job making this city habitable? You know.
Yeah, they have.
You know, you got all three of the boys or not all three, but the three of the boys in the restaurant business, all in the same neighborhood.
Yeah. Absolutely.
They run out of something. Go see my brother across the street. Go go get some pepper.
Hey, where do you get this bread? My brother makes it.
And each has got they're all in it, but they each got the little niche.
They got a niche.
Yeah,
Little niche.
absolutely.
That's right.
You know, so they're competing, but they're not competing.
Hey, Paul, can I have a wood fire pizza? No, go see my brother. That's nice.
Saw one of our guests on the radio show the other day. Saw Pete Rose.
Oh, really? Yeah.
No, the real Pete Rose, not the baseball player. The real Pete Rose.
Yeah, the real Pete Rose.
Yeah. We had
the one we don't have to hang our heads down
that's
with.
right. Yeah. He had to go up. Misha had a gig up at the funeral parlor where he works in Kanjahari, and I didn't realize he lives above the funeral.
Oh, it's a lovely place. Yes.
Yeah.
That's where we. You know, when I did my first 5K up in Kanjahari, we started out there, walked downtown, and actually ran past the funeral home and finished up there.
Well, that's the reason I brought him up, because he says it's almost time to defend Iraq.
Well, no, I think that's like August, isn't it?
I don't know.
No,
he
is
says,
it early?
I think so. He says
No.
it's time to start getting ready for it.
Well, I only trained for 2 days before that one. That was 2 days lifetime, and I came away with a. Where is Mike? It must be in the other room. Me, the runner. See, the trouble is I can't start training yet for one good solid reason, and it's not because I'm in such bad physical health. It's because, I don't know, somewhere about a year ago, the dog ran off with one of my running shoes, and I haven't found it since. I don't know where it could be. I've been in every room in the house, and they were like brand new. I had worn them in 2 races and about 5 training sessions. Yeah.
Wow.
So what am I going to do? I'm going to run with the one running shoe? I don't know. Hey, Luis is doing a 10K in Boston. Coming up pretty quickly. End of June, I think. And
is she training for it?
Yeah, she's just starting to train for it. Yeah. Plus, she's doing, moving up a notch in her ballroom dancing, so they're doing all new choreography. And,
those are great pictures you put up on Facebook.
Yeah, I watched that.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys I caught the videos I posted yesterday, I think, from that competition.
Yeah.
And they were. What was nice about them, you watch it. You watched it watched it live, and you got one stationary camera, and they come around. You can, kind of follow them around the room. Then they go off camera and they come back. Well, the videos that she posted, one of her friends took, so they're focused on them
all the way around,
all the time. So they're beautiful.
The first time I watched it, I don't know, my eyes were the TV. I couldn't tell. There was a green one and there was a light green one.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, in the first round there were actually 3 green dresses.
And I'm trying to figure out which one is which.
Yeah, hers was the bright one. Yeah. The others were kind of muted, but hers was a bright green. I think I mentioned on the show Tuesday, which she listened to, by the way.
She did?
Yeah, she did. In fact, she texted me a message, but I didn't have my phone with me. So she was almost, she said I should announce the phone number more often because she would have called in if she remembered what the number was. She never called Quickie Quiz as much as I did. So.
She should have.
Yeah. Victor 32500. So yeah, you know, she's not hasn't been much of a runner up to this point. In fact, in that Canajoharie 5K, she ran with me. You know,
it was close at the end.
Believe me, if we hadn't, I was dragging her really seriously, seriously. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's all right. We both had fun.
I tell you, my son trains almost every day.
Yeah, yeah.
He's a serious runner.
Every day.
Yeah, he's out running every day.
Yeah, they do that.
Yeah.
Really? There's people that do that?
Yeah.
People,
Yeah.
it's kind of an obsession.
I think there's one day that he doesn't run, but it's one day it's 5 miles, another day it's 3 miles, another day it's 15 miles.
Yeah.
I said, I don't know.
Yeah, Jamie said, you know, when I drove to Vancouver, I saw Doug Landon running. Where did you see him? Well, you know, between Fort Johnson and Tribes Hill. Oh, you mean when you just pulled out of the driveway?
Yeah.
When I drove,
made it sound like
when I drove to Vancouver, I passed Doug on the road.
Yeah, out in Ohio or someplace. Yeah. He's out there. You know, see Doc Marsh runs all the time. You see him out there?
I don't see Doc Marsh. Where is he?
He's usually up
on
Miami Ave, up by the high school, up there. He's got a pretty good beat.
We got a rhythm section today. Yeah. The El Chipo Orchestra. Well,
what's the paper you got there, Bob?
This is a remarkable document. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I've been having some hearing problems. You know, like you'll say something and I'll answer a completely different question.
I just thought he was ignoring us. I didn't know
No.
it was an audiological problem.
So I went to see your friend Dr. Araya, who says hello, by the way. And so he runs me through this battery of tests.
Is that the chart?
Yeah, this is a chart. Yeah, you used to be in the business. You can kind of recognize this, can't you? Basically, what they say is below the line is stuff you can hear. Here are the things I can hear. Oh, I can hear the sounds of a motorcycle, vacuum cleaner, telephone ringing, a loud piano, a dog barking. What is this? Lawnmower. And most of the vowel, or rather consonant sounds are below. No, these are mostly vowels and liquid vowels I can hear.
What's a liquid vowel?
Whereas the
water dripping.
Whereas the primary, water dripping, that's kind of on the line. I guess I can hear that. I'm not sure. Or no, it's on the line. No, it's above the line, so I can't hear it.
Have you got your eyes checked to see where the line is?
Well, it's handwritten there. That's why I'm.
Okay.
And it's right on the line. Consonants, forget it. He says you must have a hard time understanding your wife. I said I have a very hard time.
What's a consonant?
He's had that problem for 50 years.
Yeah.
What they do is
it's pretty bad.
They introduce a sound and you're supposed to raise your hand when you can hear it.
All right.
We used to have little headphones. We used to push a button.
I got a button. Yeah, he had a button.
But
now
that's modern.
The amazing thing is the technology in hearing aids over the last five years or so has advanced dramatically. And I heard from my brother, who's pretty much stone deaf. And he says it's absolutely amazing because he got a new pair. So we're discussing it. They come with microprocessors built in.
Can you get the internet on it too?
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
That's the $4,000 one.
That's the 5,000. A pair. But it will evaluate the room you're in and adjust accordingly.
Get out of town.
Yeah. Plus, you can have, I think, up to 4 custom things. So, for example, I want to set it for courtroom. You know, it would adjust it. They can adjust it using just using his laptop.
Yeah.
He can adjust it so that so you can do. Now, let's say you're in a theater and there are people talking behind you, but you want to focus on the stage. You cut those people out. You move the focus from 270 degrees to whatever, 90 degrees, and therefore you're focused on the people you're looking at, and the rest is dumbed down. Yeah. Now, you pick up the telephone, you answer the phone. Whichever ear you're using, this hearing aid knows you're listening to a telephone and tells the other hearing aid and transfers the signal. So you're listening in stereo to the telephone call. You're getting it from both sides as though you had it on headphones, and therefore kind of blocking out the exterior sound. Just incredible stuff.
Was there like Kool-Aid you're drinking up there?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. It's amazing what they can do with them now.
Plus, you can have a remote control in your pocket of various sizes, depending on how you want it, and you can switch what you're doing right there. And then if you go to a place like a movie theater or a museum that has a loop system, where they broadcast the sound through this loop, it will be transmitted directly, or you can have it transmit directly to your headphone, your earphone, your hearing aids, so that you're getting the sound directly from the projector or whatever, and not through the speaker and back to you and interpreted and everything else. Yeah?
Oh.
Pretty.
Good job, Doc Araya. Holy cow.
All right.
Yeah, it's amazing what they can do.
Wow, it's incredible.
You can set your TV up with a Bluetooth transmitter that your headphones can turn up, and I can watch TV in silence and hear everything. In other words, everybody else in the room is on mute, but I can still hear it if I want to.
So if you're sitting there laughing hysterically and people look at you, they won't know why?
No, they won't know why.
Wow.
Plus, he says I can get up and walk into the other room and never miss a thing because
You can
That's
still.
the sound.
yeah. So you ask, does it pick up the internet? Yes, I could set it up to pick up the internet very easily with my setup here.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you get your new ears, you're talking about it.
they're not cheap.
Yeah, he's
No.
got to decide what he wants to spend the $5,000.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible,
But,
Bob.
Wow. Just amazing. Just amazing. And I got to tell you, it's really gotten to the point where it's frustrating in trying to carry on conversations and not know what people are saying, particularly on the telephone. Went to see a play in New York the other day.
Now,
Yeah.
that could help the mayor, because then she would know what people are actually talking about, and maybe it'll help her understand.
No,
does not
it
add-
doesn't interpret anything.
Wait a minute.
She would have to try to interpret.
No, there's no wisdom attachment.
No wisdom.
Sorry.
All right. I thought.
No.
No.
That was a good try, though.
All right.
Wow. So, anyway, went to New York Wednesday with noted presidential historian David Petrusha on the megabus.
Uh-huh.
And he was able to snarf some tickets for a show called... We'll say it. Well, it's Velocity in Autumn, I think, was the name of it. And It opened to previews on April 1st and closes this Sunday after like 20 actual performances after previews. Although there was a good house for the matinee on Wednesday. We got the understudy. Estelle Parsons, is that her name? The old lady?
The old lady.
Yeah, she's the star of the show. And the day after they announced they were closing, she was nominated for a Tony.
For this play?
Or vice versa, for this play, yeah. Apparently it had kind of lousy reviews or mediocre reviews, but more importantly, it had no audience. Just nobody was, buying tickets for it. So, boom. It was very good.
Yeah.
It was more than very good.
Is it a drama? Is it a comedy?
Well, yeah,
is it
it's a drama.
satire?
It's a drama with comic overtones or undertones. Two-person play. The old lady is holed up in her house somewhere in New York City. And she's apparently got 3 children, one of whom is a son she hasn't seen in 20 years. And apparently she's getting a little batty, and they're getting to the point where they're going to pull her out of the other kids are going to pull her out of the house and put her in a home or something like that, right? And so she's got the place loaded with Molotov cocktails made from developing fluid that her husband had bought and left behind because he was so there's all kinds of music. The play opens with the estranged son climbing a maple tree outside the window and manages to pull himself up and get into the house to see his mother. And so, as I say, it's got some pretty funny moments. Only the 2 characters in the play. The dialogue is 1,000 miles an hour. And when you consider that, I think Estelle Parsons is like 86 or something.
I was going to say, she got an
I mean, she was on Broadway when I was an infant, okay? Libby George played the part when we were there. She was the understudy. And I knew who she was. I mean, she's not, a famous actress, but she's been on TV enough. She's been on all the Law and Order things, and she had a recurring role as one of the judges on one of the I guess probably on all the shows.
What's her name?
Libby George. She was great. Just great. I can't think Estelle Parsons would have been any better. But the amount of dialogue that has to be memorized, and you can't hesitate. There's only 2 people on the stage.
There's no cover.
Yeah. Every once in a while, it'll slow down, and somebody will do a monologue for a while and give the other one a little bit of breath. Mm-hmm. Anyway, the point was we were talking about the hearing. I got probably. Actually understood probably about 60% of what she said, and maybe about 35% of what the son said, because he tended to get down, start talking like this.
And it's hard to hear.
Not good for me. And yet, with the 65%, or maybe average out to 50% between the 2 of them, I was able to follow what was going on, because the brain fills in the rest.
That's right.
For the most part. So I may have missed some really great lines, but I heard some really great lines too. And David says afterwards, wasn't his monologue about the woman getting hit on the bicycle really moving?
That was probably 50% he didn't get.
I gotta tell you, that's the one part of the show where I heard nothing for about 5 minutes. And then I said, I'll tell you what I got,
Yeah.
And I told him, he says, you picked it up pretty good. But I said, but what was the rest? And the rest was the part that was really moving. Yeah.
A lot of theaters have headphones.
They do.
That-
They do. I've been to that. A play or two that Bob was working on that we went to, and that helps. You pick up the studio mics. I'm not sure. This was a small theater. I'm not sure it was even mic'd at all, which is a problem, an additional problem. This theater was smaller, similar in look, but smaller than the Wilbur Lynch Theater. Wilbur Lynch is pretty good size for an old high school auditorium. I think Lynch may seat close to 1,000 people, including the balcony.
Yeah, but some of those theaters only hold 200 to 300 people.
Well, this one is about 800, I think, or something like that. But that was definitely smaller than Lynch, and we're 7/8 row center, so couldn't really get much. Couldn't ask for much more.
No.
Now, is he working on any books at this time?
Oh yeah. He's in the third review of his 1932 book. And unlike his previous presidential books, presidential election books, this one deals not only with the 1932 presidential election, which was Herbert Hoover versus Franklin Roosevelt ultimately. It also deals with the simultaneous or near simultaneous election in Nazi Germany. Well, that wasn't Nazi Germany, in Germany when Hitler came to power. Hitler came to power in 1932 via the election route. So he's got a little bit extra to work with here.
Did he make any mention of the very brief and humorous delivery he's going to make to the Amsterdam High graduating class this year?
He's working on it.
He's working
yes,
on
he did make mention of it.
He did. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Brevity, humor, brevity. Emphasis on brevity.
He's very good at that. He really needs. He's done enough public speaking that and he's been to enough of those that he knows what to do and what not to do. I'm sure it will be terrific and inspirational. I guess. And he hasn't asked me to write it, so.
Okay.
Well. Anyway, so that's it. So I think at some point I may hear better.
Oh.
I went to. Is Dr. Shalom still in business? I went to him many years ago.
The ENT? Yeah, he was ENT. Yeah, he did my.
He was down Guy Park.
He did
Market Street, Guy Park Extension.
My sinus surgery.
Yeah. So I did the isolation, the $64,000 question isolation booth thing with him years ago. And
did he give you the answers before you went in?
No. Fortunately, I had Charles Van Doren on the line. Anyway, just gonna ask a friend. Gonna call a friend.
Phone a friend.
Well, he had a, we did a beep thing, but then there's also the section where they read you words and you have to repeat the words back. In other words, he'll say something to you, like to hold a sheet of paper up so you can't see it, read his lips. And you have to repeat it back. I didn't do too well on this test, let me tell you. But anyway, it was, fortunately, Dr. Araya, kind of has a normal Amsterdam accent, whereas Dr. Shalom
didn't.
Well, he's Indian, so he learned his English in India.
That kind of Indian.
Yeah.
I thought he meant like Sioux or Navajo or Comanche.
So now I'm going to read you something, and you'll repeat back to me what I read to you. I said, okay, sure, got it. Football. I said, football. That's right. Rooftop. I said, Ruta. Yes. You answered these very correctly. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Correct.
Well, this is I used to have a pretty good ear for language, but with the deafness, I can't pick it up in English. Let alone try to figure out what they said in Spanish and then translate it.
Yeah, yeah.
There was one song that we go to the Spanish Mass once in a while at St. Mary's, and there was one hymn they were singing that I swear they were talking about lawyers. Avocado.
Oh.
No, that can't be right. As I'm running through my head, praise to the lawyers.
Praise to the lawyers. That can't be right, definitely.
It can't be right. It can't be right. I'm coming to this mass more often. Oh, well. I don't know.
So one of our old class chums last night, Bob Swider.
Oh, we were talking about him not long ago. Did you tell him that? We mentioned him on the show with No Name?
And he said, "What's that?" And I had to explain to him, and if you have to explain it,
it's not,
and he's retiring this year, at the end of this year. He's a guidance counselor at Shen. He was up at the high school last night watching his son play lacrosse. He plays for Scotia. So he comes with a green shirt on to a maroon game where purple and gold is predominant. He said, "You couldn't change?" Obviously, I said, "Bob, you're a guidance counselor. You had plenty of time to change before you get here." But
we probably did change.
But I felt bad for him.
Oh, you did?
I did, because I was talking about what's going on here in Amsterdam and what we do on a weekly basis on the podcast and the radio show, and none of which he had any awareness of. But the real sad part, I explained what we do and mentioned about the book that is so heavily read today in the United States, that was recently written here in the city of Amsterdam. Where do we find such men?
Oh,
and
yes.
I had a hard time convincing him that it would be a great read for him, because one, it's the parents of many of our former students. He says, "Well, I haven't heard of them." I said, "Well, you would if you read the book," and I tried to explain to him what it was about. And he says, "Well, what are you guys going to do, make a screenplay out of it, make a movie out of it?" I said, "Don't be flippant."
There's 3 movies in there at least.
I said, "Bob, Danny Blanchfield's father." I said,
Yeah. Well, his father's in the book too, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he may not know this, but in the course of my research, among the clippings I took out were clippings of his father.
Oh, really?
Yes, and I only recently gave them to Leo after church one weekend. Yeah, I said, "Leo, I've been carrying these around for a while. Now all I had was kind of the standard. He's off the boot camp or stuff like that. But
nonetheless.
Nevertheless.
So I told him where the book was available. Of course, right away I said, "Well, you got to buy copies. Or you can get it on Amazon." I said, "Yeah." Or you can get it at the Book Hound.
Or of course, the old Peddler's Wagon
up there,
has some signed copies. Walter Elwood Museum's out. They sold out.
Really?
Yeah. And I haven't checked with Fonda lately whether the Department of History and Archives has any left. The book is still selling, so I really can't complain.
Well, it's a great read.
I've gotten royalties every single month since I published it a year ago.
That's good.
Well,
good, and maybe it'll be a kicking point in which it'll go.
Well, yeah. I recently got a series of raves on Facebook from people, not addressed to me, addressed to some of the local sites, saying you got to read this book. Oh, that's nice.
Well, you gotta.
Which means that the people who got it for Christmas are just starting to pick it up now.
Well, that's all right, as long as they're picking it up.
And there are a couple of copies available at the library that continue to be checked out. So, I'm kind of hoping that one of these years it'll be at least be on the finalist list for Amsterdam Reads. But we'll see.
Well, this is the second year it's been out.
Yeah. There's only been one opportunity to get
Right.
it in up to this point, and they probably have been working on that for a while. Just means that there are certain people I got to make sure get a copy. Yeah.
Maureen Hand.
Huh?
Maureen Hand.
I'm not going to say.
Okay. Maureen Hand.
Okay. Well,
John Naple.
John Naple, definitely. I left his father out though. I had I had to cut a lot out, so I did have his itinerary, but he was in driving an army truck, I think, that liberated one of the POW camps. And an Amsterdam guy was liberated by an Amsterdam guy, and that actually happened a couple of times.
Yeah.
During the war. Yeah. Mario Chucka was also POW and was rescued by an Amsterdam guy, and it wasn't John Naple Sr. So. In fact, oddly enough, I really haven't checked this out completely because I ended up not writing it, but I think Mario Checa was rescued by Ralph Gaetano, whose daughter Susan married Tim Naple. So
That's who married Tim. Yeah.
So it seems at least that each of them had a father who rescued an an Amsterdam POW during the course of the war. What are the odds of that?
Yes, it is, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tim went into the Navy.
Yeah, he went to the Navy. Went to Annapolis. He went to Annapolis, stayed in the Navy, and ended up spending almost his entire career in San Diego at the Coronado Naval Base. Ended up as a captain. I believe he retired a couple of years ago.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Ended up a captain, and he was in charge of one of the attack helicopter groups. So there was two, one in San Diego and one in Norfolk, I think, is the other one. Yeah.
I saw his sister Marie a couple of years ago up at Kenji Harry, one of the concerts up there.
Bump into her periodically. I think I saw her at the library, event at the library earlier this year.
I think she was been in Wells.
Yeah,
and
she lives with her mother in Wells, right across the bridge.
Yep.
Yep. And geez, Mrs. Naple is doing great. She's like 92 now, something like that, and looks barely over 70, if that.
Marie went to Union College.
Did she?
And she did like her senior thesis on Native Americans, and I helped her with some of her research, and she came over to the house a couple of times and gave her some material and things in it, and it talked about the federal government and the Iroquois and the Navajo, and how different pieces of legislation affected those two native populations, and the Klamath. There was three groups that she talked about in her publication, and great girl.
Oh yeah,
great family.
A great family. Brother Billy's been one of my best friends for since 1964. So what's that? 60 years, 50 years? Yeah, 50 years.
Yeah.
Been on many a hike together. We used to do a lot of hikes. The very first hike we went on was Columbus Day, 1964. Now I forget where we really ended up going, but I know we somehow ended up in Fort Johnson. And it was the only time in my life I've been to Old Fort Johnson. That was 50 years ago this fall. We just walked up and knocked on the door, and the lady who was the caretaker says, "Oh, you know, we usually charge like $1 admission," and we just kind of looked at each other and shuffled our feet. I'm sorry. Okay, all right then. No, come on in, boys. You know, we got the full tour.
Yeah. How can you turn away 13-year-old boys?
Yeah, I know
right?
it. I know it. We were 13 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back in spring of '72, I think it was. We hiked the Northville Placid Trail,
Oh yeah.
north to south. And so I don't know whether, yeah, I guess Bill was going to Plattsburgh at the time, and Johnny Armstrong, I think, was going to Plattsburgh.
Yeah, he was at Plattsburgh.
So I took the bus up to Plattsburgh and met up with them, and Bill Daly and Billy Bush were on the expedition as well. I think that was it. Plus we had 2 dogs. I don't know how we had 2 dogs. One was Naples' dog, and I think the other one was Daly's dog. And so we hitchhiked from Plattsburgh to the trailhead, out along the way to Lake Placid, because we actually picked up the trail not at the northern trailhead, but at Indian Pass. Because Bill decided, it's shorter going through Indian Pass. We left him in charge of the map, right? Right?
That's a good guy. He'd been a Boy Scout. Yeah.
Well, needless to say, we broke up. I guess there were six of us, it must have been, because I think we broke up into 3 groups. Because nobody's going to pick up 6 people and 2 dogs. Well, you get to certain areas like around Elizabethtown. Try to get a ride. You know, ain't nobody going anywhere. But ultimately, we got to our trailhead like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. This is like mid-May.
Black fly
so now,
season.
it's just before black fly season. They didn't hit us until the tail end. Now in mid-May, Indian Pass is still full of snow. Go ahead, Chip. And the creeks are all overflowing with the spring runoff. So the trail like disappears here and there, and we have to go through this icy cold, swift running water to get from one place to another. There is no other option. So this is how we start the trip. At
warm and toasty.
4 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Now, as I say, Bill was in charge of the map. He didn't understand what all these lines close to each other meant. And what it is you're going straight up and then straight down. And in fact, and Indian Pass is just walled in. I mean, there's that straight up, but on your left and on your right is another 700 feet up. So anyway. We get the first lean-to is on the far side of the pass, and by the time we get to the top of the pass, it's already past sunset. So you got a little bit of twilight we're working with. I think Daly had glasses on, and they kept fogging over because of the changing.
How many flashlights did you have?
Well, I'm not sure we had any flashlights. We may have had. I know we did light candles for a while.
Oh, that's a good thing to be doing in the woods.
So the top of the pass, there's actually a ladder going down the other side. That's how steep it is. So we go down the ladder, and now we can't follow the trail because the trail is all underwater. So we have to go uphill a little bit. And now it's pitch black. We're soaking wet, walking through snow, and we decided we got to pitch camp here for the night. We could, so we cut down some branches and
made little lean-tos.
Huh?
You didn't make a lean-to?
No, the lean-to
cut branches to sleep on.
Yeah, the lean-to was too far away. There was no way we were going to find it. We had already lost the trail, and all we had was candles to look for the next marker. So we said the heck with it, and we built a pretty good fire, and we managed not to freeze to death. I really don't know how, in retrospect. I remember I I probably had 2 pairs of socks on. I had my brother's army boots, which were a half size too small for me. And I remember laying a pair of nylon socks that I had closest to my skin. I put those on a stick near the fire, and they melted. They melted. I watched them melt to curl up and get to be about this size. I was watching The Big Bang in reverse. You know? I said, "Well, there goes that pair of socks." Cheers. And you know, and it was cold. You know, and we literally slept in the snow in our sleeping bags over some pine boughs that we illegally cut down. But the next morning was beautiful, and
the sun rose and the creek didn't rise.
The sun rose, and we had a beautiful day hiking out to Duck Hole, which was one of the prettiest spots in the Adirondacks for staying overnight the next night. And
What'd you do for food, Bob?
we brought we backpacked it in for the most part, and then in the middle of the trail we got off the trail and went to Blue Mountain Lake Village and replenished our supplies. And you know what was really neat? Dorothy Naple, God bless her. Do you know her?
Yeah.
She's like she's a walking saint, always has been. All right. She's the sweetest woman on the face of the earth. She had made apple bars for us that she mailed care of general delivery to the Blue Mountain Lake post office, and they were there waiting for us.
Get out of town.
And I'll tell you,
they were good.
There was never a better snack. Oh, we devoured them in one sitting.
How many days did it take you to complete
we were doing like 25, 30 miles a day, honest to God. I'm not kidding. Wow. We were up before the sun came up. And we would stop for maybe an hour at lunchtime, and when it got to supper time, sometimes we ate supper on the trail, or if we hit a lean-to, then we stayed there. But otherwise, we had supper and then went on to the lean-to. Honest to God, yeah. And we hiked the trail as far as Piseco, and I think we hitchhiked home from there. We didn't do the southern part of the route. But I think that was about, 5-6 days, something like that. Yeah. Now, having done that Indian Pass mistake, we took a vote and stole the map from Naples. And now we see this section of the trail from Long Lake to Route 30 past Blue Mountain Lake Village. And we had already kind of decided we were going to have to go into Blue Mountain Lake to go to the post office anyway. And when we saw that the trail again went like this, the lines are all close together, I said, this is a good place to hitch. We hitchhiked around Blue Mountain, I guess, and down into the village. So we bypassed that section of the trail. Okay? That was 1972. And then about 2-3 years ago, Billy calls me up and he says, let's do that section of the trail we skipped.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I was already like 60 or close to 60, and he got a fellow teacher from one of the school he was teaching at, and the three of us started out at the north end, right where we had skipped, right on Route 28, I guess, or 28N or whatever it is, or 28, I think. 28. And it was, again, we're starting at like 4 in the afternoon.
Didn't learn.
Well, took a while to get her. Everybody was kind of busy. I think we met at his mother's house on the way up. And this time we found we really didn't go too far the first night, and got most of the way up the ridge, and it's a steep ridge. But we found a place with running water, and I said, you know, there may not be running water on there. We had time to get over the ridge to the other side. But I said, let's just stay here for tonight, and it was nice. And it turns out, as we learned the next day, we're like the only people who used that trail that year. I think that part of the trail, because when you get to the top, it really literally disappeared. Undergrowth all came in. And then you get down the other side, and there was like at least a solid mile, if not two, of nothing but muck. You just walked through muck for. There wasn't a dry spot to lay your foot. But it was nice, and I was the first one out. We held our own.
You know, people don't realize what a real wilderness the Adirondacks are up in that part.
And that's the civilized part, Gavin.
They don't have an understanding what a tremendous resource we have in the state. You know, it's always greener someplace else. It's always better someplace else. But if you want to go through the wilderness, you know, as close as it was 100 years ago, 150 years ago, that's it. That's it.
Another year, in fairly recent years, in other words, as an adult, we went up into really one of the wildest sections of the Adirondacks that's reachable, or that's fairly easily reachable. And that is basically between Route 30 and Route 10, along the east branch of the Sacandaga. Wow! You drive out of Wells to the end of Algonquin Lake. That's Algonquin, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a road that goes out to White House, where there used to be, like most places in the Adirondacks, there used to be a hotel there at one time. And that's a fairly long drive out, and that's as far as you can get. And that's close to where the Northville Placid Trail comes through that section. Well, then you start following. Now you cross. You literally have to wade across a creek that runs into the Sacandaga River to get to the other side. And you follow the east branch of the Sacandaga into the wilderness, and it's amazing. I mean, there's some fishing campsites along the way periodically, but mostly it is just wilderness, the way it was, the way it always was. And there are like 3 big waterfalls in there, and you know, if you follow it all the way through, you come out to the Piseco Lake outlet, which flows into there, and the east branch of the Sacandaga, which comes up most of Route 10, or is that the west branch? It's the west branch of the Sacandaga, not the east branch. West branch. I always get those two mixed up. It's because I'm going the other way. The west branch, that must run like 40 miles or something like that, in a big arc. And the source of the west branch of the Sacandaga comes, I think, within like 2 or 3 miles of the other end of it. It just has this huge loop.
Yeah.
And all along Route 10, there's like 3 crossings, 3 bridge crossings on Route 10 of the West Branch. And in a canoe, it's a beautiful ride. If you get in off of Route 10, you occasionally run into a beaver dam or something, but you can go a long, long ways. However, if you decide to follow the West Branch into the main branch of the Sacandaga, you're dead because it goes roaring through that canyon with the 3 waterfalls, and occasionally you'll come across the remains of some idiot who tried it, or the boat rather.
Well,
the idiots are probably there too.
Yeah.
And if you want to get out to the other side, you actually have to swim across the Paseco outlet to get to Route 10. Otherwise, it's a huge long way around. But it's as wild as you can get, and amazingly beautiful.
Yeah, forever wild.
Yeah, I love the Adirondacks. We used to do a lot of that stuff. Should do it again.
We did it once when we were kids. We took off on our bikes, and we just decided that day we were going to go up to Silver Lake. No idea where the hell it is.
It doesn't matter.
We just knew it was up off the Bleecker Road. They call it
Right.
Bleecker Road in Gloversville. So we went home. We got some groceries, or we were going to take food with us. My brother and I, and a couple other kids. So we get on our bikes, and we start out. And going up the Bleecker Road, up
Bleecker Mountain.
Up Bleecker Mountain, and we get halfway up there. We can't go any farther on our bikes. We're all dead. We're probably 12, 13 years old.
Well, didn't you shift down to the lowest gear? There were no gears.
There were no gears.
There was gear one.
So we're pushing our bikes up the road, and every time a car go by, we would put our thumb out, see if we could get a ride. Who's going to pick us up with our bikes, right?
Yeah.
There's some guy came along with a truck. So he stops. He says, "Where are we going? We want to go here." He says, "Okay." He says, they threw the bikes on the back of the truck, took us up to the trailhead to get into Silver Lake. We didn't know where we were going. We just knew it was
Up there.
So he said, "This is where you're going." He says, So we get off our bikes and we start riding the trail with our bikes. Probably going there maybe half a mile or so, and you can't go any farther with the bike. So we hide the bikes. We get through we had to go across a couple streams. We get in there carrying. It had to been paper bags, so they didn't have plastic shopping bags back then. We get in there with our food, and it's getting dark. So he said, "Well, we built a fire. There was a lean-to after we got in there. There's a lean-to, messier than hell. The last people were in there just made a hell of a mess of it, and we didn't have sleeping bags back then.
What did you have back then,
We
Jim?
had the clothes on our back.
Oh wow! You didn't even have a bedroll. Huh?
We didn't have a bedroll.
Oh wow!
So we
Planning.
That was well prepared.
we were kids. What the hell did we know about?
They weren't Boy Scouts, obviously.
Well, we had been Boy Scouts.
Yeah, you missed that. You missed that meeting.
You missed the be prepared
meeting.
or maybe that's when they adopted the slogan after hearing your story.
Yeah.
So we got into the lean-to, we cleaned it up, and there was pots and pans in there, because we didn't bring pots or pans with us. How you want to cook? So there was pots and pans in there, and they were rusty and dirty. So we took them down to the lake, and we scrubbed them out with some sand and rinsed them out. We built a fire. The food we had was bacon and eggs, peanut butter and jam.
That's all right.
and some bread. And that's what we had to eat.
Well, you survived.
Yeah, this was. Can you imagine going camping with eggs, raw eggs? So,
They were scrambled before you took them out of the
God.
shells.
but we and going through, getting up there, we're getting filthy because we're going through the streams, we're going, through the thick woods, and the trail wasn't marked.
Oh jeez.
The trail wasn't marked. How we going? Well, we're following the beaten path.
Right. The herd path. Yeah.
So we got there. So we're filthy dirty when we were there. So in the morning we're going to wash up. It was kind of cool. Fooling around, then we all got wet. Yes, we had a disrobe, built a fire, and put all our clothes on sticks and put them near the fire to dry them out. We were running around naked there for probably half the day, but it was a hell of a trip.
Did you go fishing when you went in there?
No, we
You didn't take your poles?
We didn't bring anything with us. We were just.
There's no poles, only
just-
Italians on the
We
trip.
were just going for a hike. That's it.
Had you mentioned to your mother you weren't coming home? Or?
No. Well, we told her we were going up to the lake,
Yeah.
to the lean-to, the camp.
Yeah.
So she must have assumed it because when we got back home the next day, I didn't get beat.
She knew you'd already paid the price.
Had to have been 12, 13.
Yeah.
But we did that a couple times.
Kind of sound like you planned your trip like the Little Rascals
We
planned
had-
their camping
We
trip.
had no idea what we were doing. We were so uneducated, that we didn't know what the hell was going on. It's a wonder we survived.
How'd you make out coming down Bleecker Mountain on your bikes?
Well, that was interesting. The bikes held up.
Yeah.
The bikes held up. The brakes held up. I didn't know what was going to happen. But one of the times we went out on our bikes, we had flat tires and we had a. Oh God.
You didn't have an air pump, did you?
No.
No.
Well, one of the kids had an air pump, one of those small ones.
Yeah,
that
you got a
attach,
pump. Yeah.
But, we got the tires fixed, but we had to buy a tube at one place. We had to pool our money.
Tube.
The tube was probably 50 cents or $1 at the time.
Right. Yeah, that's big money.
Yeah, that's how you knew you'd made it in life back then, is when you were able to buy tubeless tires instead of tires with tubes. Because I remember, you a lot of parents in the neighborhood where I grew up, they had tube tires, and
Tube tires.
they can go take them out.
And carry the patch kit with you all the time.
That's right. That's right. Then you got tubeless tires.
My grandfather told me, this is my Massachusetts grandfather, that I guess we're back must be like in the 1920s.
He took. You weren't there.
I wasn't there. No,
He was telling you about it.
He was
Okay.
telling me about it.
It happened in the 20s. Okay.
Franklin, Mass is, today on 495 is maybe a half hour from Cape Cod. In those days, of course, there was no 495, and cars didn't go as fast, and it was maybe a couple-hour trip or something like that. Assuming you didn't have to stop. Because the way the tires were made in those days, before the trip was over, you had changed every one of the tires on the car, maybe some of them twice,
Yeah.
and it was just a normal part of you go 20 miles, and
Yeah.
you blow a tire, you take it off, you patch it up, you pump it up, put it back, and keep on going. The jack was you just kept next to you.
Half the time the tire would blow off the rim because you had changed that tire so many times to fix the tube. It would wear
Stretching,
off
yeah.
the rim, the piece that catches on the rim. That used to happen to us all the time. Put it back on, blow it up. Another day or two, it'd fly off again because if you hit a bump, it would just force it off the rim.
Well, people wouldn't stand for that today.
Well, you think about it. When we started driving, it was still the change the tire era.
Because you had real spare tires.
Other than when I was driving one of those cheap cars in Ireland, I haven't changed a tire in 25 years probably.
Yeah.
I'd be hard pressed to tell you where the jack is in my car.
Yeah.
But when I started driving, it was a fairly regular occurrence. Of course, my father always bought retreads because they were cheaper.
That's right, retread tires
Retread
too.
tires.
Yeah.
There were no steel bolted radials in our.
No. No. Wow.
Do you want the white walls out or in?
Yeah.
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 When I was a kid, I didn't have it, but my brother-in-law had a car that still had the crank for the front.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he only used it once that I remember, and then he showed us how to use it, just in case, but I never used it.
Oh, at that point it was an accessory?
Yeah. It was in case you broke down and you had to start the car, the battery wouldn't do it, you'd use the crank.
I remember pushing with my dad, my mom in the car, pushing it out of the driveway, out on the Fairmount Avenue, and got her facing downhill. And we ran behind it, pushing it until she could pop
Oh, yeah,
pop
yeah.
it and get it started.
Well, I mean, that was the real advantage of standard cars.
Yeah.
You could always start them by popping the clutch.
Yeah.
You can't do that today with a
You could never do it with automatic.
No, you can't.
No.
You can't do it
But
standard
I've
now
done
either.
it. I've done it in fairly recent years.
Yeah.
When I had a standard
Yeah.
shift car.
Yeah, you could get those started like that.
Can you even buy a standard shift car? I don't know.
Yeah, special order usually.
Isn't that
Yeah, they're-
Cy would
they're
always buy. That's why I would get. Cy would occasionally give me one of his standard shift cars.
Good. You got better
And I'll
mileage
tell
with them.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you,
Yeah.
I had a Ford Tempo that I got from Cy, and my mother-in-law had the same car in automatic, and the mileage on mine was half again as good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, gosh. Back in the boy, are we doing the olden days when we're cranking up the car and popping the clutch? I wonder if Philip Tambasco even knows what popping the clutch is.
The one car had a rumble seat that my brother-in-law had.
Rumple seat?
The rumble seat, you pull it out and you
Yeah.
sit 3 people in the back
Yeah.
and 2 in the cab.
My real grandfather was killed in one,
A rumble
Really?
seat.
Rumble, yeah.
riding in the rumble seat,
Yeah. Yeah.
rear-ended.
Ooh.
Well, there's no defense.
No, you're-
yeah.
But there wasn't a defense in the cars that we rode in.
No.
All right. I was a little
Yeah,
kid.
but you know, I've been watching these old Columbos, and even as late as the '70s, those cars were tanks.
Yeah, they were.
You know, your Impala ran half the block. Yeah. And those were standard cars.
Yeah.
I got a 73 that I've got on the road.
That's what we're talking about.
That's
Yeah.
a big car.
And a Cadillac was a Cadillac. And it was
Had a bench seat in the front. You know, the seat 7. That was the big
Oh,
selling
easily.
price. Seat
Yeah.
7, 3 in the front and 4 in the back.
yeah.
Yeah.
Comfortably.
73 Firebird I got.
Hot
I
car.
got to get it inspected this month.
So anyway, those cars in the 30s and 40s, those big tanks, you can hit those and get.
They were
When I
metal.
was a
They were
kid-
chrome.
Yeah.
You know,
When I
the
was a
chrome
kid-
bumpers.
My father had a 1928 Packard touring car.
Oh, there you go.
And it was, the floorboards were like a diamond plate
Yeah.
metal. The back seat was real deep from seat to back of the seat. And in the back of the front seats, you pull down, there's jump seats. You pull them down, you get
Uh-huh.
2 more people. seated
Right,
in.
right.
And we had a big family, there was 14 of us, and I don't know.
No TV in that house.
No, there was no TV until after I got married. But we used to go to the lake and pile everybody in there. Probably not the 14 at a time, but there was probably
In
seven,
shifts,
7
right?
or 8 of us.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a couple of them were already married.
Yeah.
But
Well,
that was quite a car.
Our '57 Ford station wagon had 3 seats, and the one in the back faced backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why, but it did. Yeah.
Well, that was so they get another set of seats in there without.
That way you don't have to listen to the kids. They're
talking the
talking
other
to
way.
somebody else.
Well, you saved a lot of leg room by putting that seat backwards.
We were at Scully.
That could be the reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were freshmen, and there was a basketball game away. We got back, and Wells, Guian, Har, Sardonia.
Well, they don't take up
Me.
any space.
I think there's 6 of us. My dad had a Chevy station wagon, and we all crammed in sitting there, and we came by the bank there on the corner of the 5 corners, and somebody comes flying through. Bam! Hits between the back door and where those guys are sitting,
Oh my God.
And everybody just looks, what the hell happened here, And, got knocked off the road there, and some guy had a couple drinks, and he missed the turn coming up there. But, there was some damage. We finished the drive home. Nobody got hurt in it. I mean, these cars were,
Yeah.
they were tough. The hardest thing was my dad had to, for the insurance company, had to make the diagram of how this was.
At the
And I'm
5
not sure.
corners?
I'm not sure how many people he left out of the diagram in the station
You
wagon.
didn't know who those kids were.
I know,
And
they
if you've
just
seen
picked
one
them up.
Sardonia, you've seen
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Oh,
but
those
yeah,
are
it was-
Michael's cousins.
Michael's cousins.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, we always used to have a
See
big
us
crowd we take
be
home.
in church every Sunday. She sits in front of us.
Let's see.
We had a car when I first started coming down to Amsterdam. Me, my brother, and a couple other guys. One of the kids had a car. It was, I don't even know how old it was, but it was old. But coming down the first curve on the Fort Johnson, where the schoolhouse was,
Yeah.
hit the gutter. Car rolled over in the guy's yard. Nobody got hurt. We got out. And the guy come out of the house, an older guy, pushed the car back up on its side, on its wheel. Yeah. We pushed it back up and drove away.
No, but
we had to buy a fence for the guy because we knocked his fence down. So we had to buy him a fence.
these cars were built. We had a 51 Hudson. We went up to Hines Pond for Boy Scout Camporee, and my dad had worn away a spot by the gas pedal right through because it had a wooden floor underneath the mat, and we're driving in there, and there's snow. I mean, the road wasn't plowed. The
No,
snow's come
good.
up inside, you know. And he's
Yeah.
driving, and I'm thinking, well, you wouldn't put up with that baloney today ever happening.
I remember doing I may have been exactly the same trip, and I had a similar kind of car. And, it must have been going at night because I tried turning the high beams on and off, and they just got full of ice and salt.
Because they used to have the clicker
They
on
were
the floor.
Clicker on the
high-
floor. Yeah.
High beams, yeah.
Yeah.
Click, click,
Yeah.
click, 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 click. Yeah. Well,
It's amazing it took so many years for a genius to figure out you could put it on the steering column and never have to worry about that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the first car that I had that had it on the steering wheel, I kept looking on the floor for that.
The clicker.
switch.
Oh.
What was your first family car that you remember? Was
51
that
Hudson.
That was it?
Yeah.
Jim?
The first family car was a 41 Plymouth.
And ours was a 1950 Studebaker with the
Oh.
with the
Yeah. One
Yeah,
of
that's
those
pretty
rocket cars.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
The first car
We didn't
I
get it
had
till
was-
about 54.
But-
Yeah.
The first car I had was a 32 Plymouth, and that was in the 40s.
That was yours.
That was mine.
My first one was a 69 Volkswagen Beetle red with a sunroof.
I think the first one I owned was a 71 VW bus. That was a great. God, I
So
love
say,
that.
those Volkswagens, they lasted forever.
Jeez.
Yeah.
You know, and the worst thing, in the Volkswagen, you had a little lever for heat on and off, all right? And honest, every year in the summertime, the cable would break and it was open, and the wintertime, the cable would break and it was closed. And you'd be driving and you're scraping the ice off the inside of the window.
Well, try the VW bus because those never were.
They never worked either
Even when they
time.
were working properly. By the time the heat got from the engine in the back to the defroster in the front, it was ice cold.
Cold anyhow.
But it had like a rubber hose that ran from the front to the back, and that was constantly rotted out. And then all the levers were, all the wires pulling the levers would rust out. So as far as heat goes, that was absolutely
None of them were
worthless.
any good.
I used to, when I was courting Mary, she was going to Oneonta State.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, and I would take the back road, Cooperstown Road, to go down there, through Cherry Valley, etc., and Sprout Brook, and no heat in the Volkswagen. So I would cook some bricks in the oven. Wrap them in towels or blankets or something, and I would have a brick on my lap all the way down just to have some kind of heat. And at one point, I remember I had this, I don't know, 2-quart thermos, or maybe it was only a quart, but it was a big thermos, with hot chocolate in it, and I opened it up on the while I'm driving, and the windshield immediately on the inside because the steam just hit the windshield, and I could see nothing. And then of course I had then I had to hold the brick up to try to melt the ice. That sure was worth it.
We're the last generation who has stories like this. What are they going to talk about for the kids from today? Oh, I remember I had my cell phone there and it got wet and I couldn't get it. You know, they're not going to have these adventure stories because they're not allowed to have adventures like we did. You know, and the things that were part of those adventures just don't exist anymore. I mean, there's such a gap, a canyon between that and today.
I mean, just imagine. I was able to talk to my father-in-law about how, when he was 12, he ran away and joined the circus. Yeah. And that's what kids did when he was 12. Yeah. And you know, that was 100 years ago now. But can you imagine if a 12-year-old kid ran away and joined the circus?
Can you imagine a 12-year-old kid getting sent to the store to buy a pack of cigarettes for his parents? You can't. I mean, there's just.
Yeah. My brother was 4 when my mother first sent him to the store. She gave him a list to hand to the grocer on the corner, but he was born mature. You know, he really was. Well, but can you? Oh my God! Your 4-year-old kid is going to, you know, we all would have grown up in foster homes.
Yeah. I think I was probably 8 or 9. And my mother sent me to get a pair of shoes at the store with a $5 bill. The shoes were $8, $9, but she gave me a $5 bill, and the guy would give me the shoes.
Mark it on credit on the slip.
No credit. He said, okay, take the $5. He knew.
He knew.
He knew. $5.
I'm surprised you didn't give me just one. By the way, if you get a running shoe, it's the right one. Okay, I got a memory of going to the store for my mother. I was, let's see, I would have been 7 maybe, and she would send me a couple of blocks, I think, to a pharmacy. It was either pharmacy or newsstand with 12 cents to get 4 3-cent stamps so she could write some letters, right? And one day I come home with 3 4-cent stamps. That's how I can date it. I think it was 1958 or 59 that the price of stamps went up 25% from 3 to 4 cents. And after that, she stopped writing to her mother.
My mother would send me to the store to get a bone for the dog. Go to the market. There's a meat market about a block away. Go get a bone for the dog. I go into the market. I said, I needed a bone for my dog. And the guy would look at me. And, I didn't know what was going on. It was a soup bone. My mother, take it home, my mother would make soup. So years later, he used to, your mother used to send you for a dog for the bone. She says, why didn't you just ask for a soup bone? That's because we'd had to pay for it.
Jeez. Yeah.
Soup bone. Dog for dog.
You did what you had to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine what it must have been like raising kids when you didn't know where didn't have a dime to.
Well, we never went hungry. That's for one thing. We never went hungry. My mother used to make bread. She used to make the cheese. She would make soap.
Really?
Yeah, and the whatever canning she did. Yeah, I made soap there a few years back. I made it.
By mistake or on purpose?
No, I made it on purpose. Elaine always threw me out of the house because rendering the fat, the smell of the fat in the house, she didn't like that at all.
Gee, I just tossed a bunch of fat. I should have saved it for you.
I think I got about 5 pounds in the garage that I've already rendered. I got to wait for.
And how do you render it?
You just boil it down.
Okay, all right, I tried that one time, and then what do you do after you've boiled it
Then
down?
you gotta add
Mix it with lye or something?
lye and water.
Really?
Your lye and
Well,
water.
that makes soap.
That'll make soap, yeah.
Amazing
Like I
thing.
say, I gotta wait till Elaine's away from the house for a couple of days, cause I I don't dare make it when she's home.
But here's the part I don't understand. How do you get the rope through it? That's the part.
Soap on a rope.
Hang the rope in it when you're, put it in the container.
It's like making a candle.
Yeah.
Put it in and
I'd make a lousy pioneer. There aren't too many people who would make good pioneers, actually.
no.
I think I might be able to survive for a week or two.
Oh.
No,
Well,
I'm sure I could survive.
Well, you got the experience from your mother. You know how to make a bread oven, for God's sakes, Wow.
But people made everything from scratch.
Yeah, you had to.
And you had to get the scratch to make the stuff to start with.
I mean, my grandmother came from a little village in Italy, and they starved through the winter.
Yeah.
And they were probably fairly well-to-do compared to some others. That chestnut flour and olive oil is all they had for months.
Yeah, there wasn't too much my mother bought at the grocery store. Well, I shouldn't say that.
You raise your own chickens?
Yes, for a time we did.
There's a guy in Amsterdam wants to raise his chickens.
Well, that's a funny controversy to me because I remember, going to visit Ronnie Sievert on Florida Avenue, and he had chickens in his backyard, and my relatives always had chickens in Massachusetts. It was not considered weird.
No.
And they do produce lots of eggs, and if you raise them for meat, they grow real fast. They're really a pretty cheap. They're fertile and they're cheap.
He had a couple piglets in the backyard one time, but that was only once. I don't know why he didn't continue doing it. Maybe it's because there's too much work with pigs. With chickens, so you didn't need anything.
My mother's family had a family cow. They would, milk the cow for, that's how you fed the kids. Yeah.
My brother.
I would not mind at all if the neighbors had chickens.
My brother had chickens in his attic. He raised chickens in his attic.
Not bats in the belfry, chickens in the attic.
Yeah.
He had bets in the belfry because
Used
they got to poop someplace.
She used to sell the eggs. I said, oh, God. It's a good... Probably too many people didn't know it at the time, because can you imagine raising chickens?
Yeah, because my aunt and uncle had them in suburban Scotia, which was country Scotia back then, country Glenville, and they're messy animals.
Yeah,
They're not clean.
As I say, there's not much to care for them. You just throw some cracked corn once in a while, but.
Cracked corn, let them eat you didn't even have to do that. They ate the bugs and the seeds in the grass.
Yeah, if you let them run wild, then the predators get them. That's the only thing.
Well, yeah, if you're out in the wilderness, but we were in the city. We were 4 doors from the school.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I don't know. Would it bother you if your neighbors had chickens? It wouldn't bother me in a bit.
I can sleep through anything.
Chickens
Yeah.
don't make a
Well,
lot.
people in Fonda have
Chickens
them.
don't
Yeah.
make a lot of noise. Roosters make the noise, not
Yeah.
regular
Right.
chickens.
And so what? What's a more beautiful sound than the rooster greeting the sun at 4 a.m.?
That's it.
The only thing better than that is in greeting at 6 o'clock. That's when you're getting up, not 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, chickens wouldn't bother me.
I mean, the chicken ordinance, I don't think is more than 30 years old, banning chickens. And I think it was designed because there was another family on Florida Avenue that was raising chickens that were walking across the road to get to the other side. And
Do we know why?
Huh?
Do we know why?
Because it was there.
Why?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking. I'm not a lawyer. I don't ask a question I ever know the answer to. I ask to be inquisitive.
Yeah.
I gotta go to work pretty soon, guys. So I think it's almost 12.
It is 12. No, 5 of.
Wow. Anyway,
My mother used to get fruits and vegetables by the bushel, and she would spend 3 or 4 days canning, and that was a chore. That was a chore. Lifting those bushels, kids by the bushel. 2 or 3 bushels of peaches, a couple bushels of apples, pears.
oh sure. Asai was telling us one day how they used to get bags and bags of cabbages and chop them all up and throw them in the barrel to make sauerkraut. I forget
Boil
whether
that
they said
cabbage down.
I think they stomped them actually after they cut them up. I think they actually stomped them with their feet like you did with the grapes.
Yeah.
I could be mistaken about that, but that's my recollection.
Well, they had to
Break it down.
Yeah, it had to break it down because it was
Yeah.
still in chunks when you cut it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what the kids did.
Yeah.
Throw the kid in the barrel and stomp on the cabbage.
Make wine. He'd make a couple barrels of wine every year, and he used that for bartering. He used to barter. He used to send us to the neighbor. There's about 2 blocks away. Another Italian guy had a brick oven like mine, a clay oven like mine, and he'd make bread. He was also a barber. He also worked in the mill. So my father would send us up there with a gallon of wine. The guy would give us a haircut and a loaf of bread.
And a loaf of bread.
And a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
So
It wasn't enough. Haircut wasn't enough for.
I went there about a year ago. I went to the same street to see if the oven was still there. It wasn't there. They had taken it down. I don't even know how big it was. I just remember being in the backyard. He had a shed over it and had vines growing all over the place. And so I said, he give us a haircut and a loaf of bread. I said, oh, geez, how many hairs are in this loaf of bread? Because he used to cut our hair in his kitchen. He used to cut our hair in the kitchen. Sit in the kitchen chair and cut our hair.
Wow. Wow.
Saved 50 cents.
My father cut our hair for a while. There's 3 boys in the family.
I cut my kids' hair for quite a while.
I thought it was only 2 bits for a shave and a haircut.
Well, no, 50 cents when I was a kid. At least that's what my father gave the guy.
Well, I guess that's about it. This was better than our Tuesday show. That was a really dull show. Oh, God.
Do you ever feel a little restricted on Tuesdays compared to Fridays?
Absolutely, absolutely. For one thing, I can always edit this if it gets really bad. Yeah, absolutely. I do feel intimidated on Tuesdays. No question about it.
I don't.
Nah, I don't think you do, but I do feel a little bit. Yeah, I don't feel as loose as I do here. That's for sure. That's for sure. I never would have put the funny glasses on the radio.
I'm looser.
Well, they would notice on the radio.
I'm looser on the radio because I don't care.
What are they going to do? Fire us?
I know somebody's watching or somebody's listening. Here, I'm not sure.
Well, Louisa was listening, so I said all those nice things about her, and she was listening. So. She's a good kid. Yeah, good kid. I got no complaints about any of them.
I guess in order for my family to watch our show, I got to mention my kids or something.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah.
We do at the beginning of each show.
That's what I should do.
Yeah.
And I could tell them, you better listen because I mentioned you.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, listen, those shows when you do your family nostalgia, the ratings are way up there. They're way up there. Maybe I'll put that on the plug. And Jim remembers most of the people in his family. See who he's talking about this week. Hey, before we go, I know we got about 1 minute, but did you see that thing Philip Tambasco posted yesterday? The face and the stone on Guy Park Avenue. It's right down by your house.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing
I've never
that.
seen that. I never knew about that. And Lord knows how old it is.
That's
Yeah.
the stone wall at the.
It said it's in
Manor.
front of, no, he said it was a stone wall in front of Brassonis' house.
Yeah, Horgan's and Mercedes.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounded like they were
No.
talking about Guy Park Manor
Now I
originally.
gotta go down and look now.
Yeah.
I gotta go look now.
Who knew?
Who
Who
knew?
knew?
He did?
I'll have to ask my
And who
kids.
is it?
I'll have to
I
ask
don't
my
know.
kids, see if they ever remember it.
I don't know.
That's your neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long you been in that house?
How long you been in the neighborhood?
50 years.
You get out much?
No, 48 years.
Wow.
Wow.
My daughter was 2 when we moved there.
Okay. I'm really Bob Going. This is Jim Nicosia, and Gavin Murdoch will be on the radio on Tuesday, and hopefully
We'll loosen
back-
up. We'll loosen up on Tuesday.
I am really Jim Nicosia.
He really is. And always has been.
Yeah.
Well, it used to be Vincenzo, but
That's right.
we changed him. And his son Jim has never forgiven him. All right, so we'll be back next Friday with more of the show with No Name.